Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for Wednesday Wisdom, the Jewish Museum's live object talk series. My name is Lisa. I'm the Senior Learning Manager at the museum, and today I will be discussing with you a beautiful cup of Elijah. This object is one of over 40,000 objects in the Jewish Museum's designated collection that shows the diversity of Jewish life and history. This glass Elijah's cup is located in the Passover display in our Living Faith Gallery and links to this week's theme, which is Passover or Pesach. I will now post a link in the comments with a photograph of the object. Please click on the link to view the object and look closely at the details. I will begin with a brief description of the object and explain more about how it was made. This glass cup of Elijah is about 25 centimeters tall and 8 centimeters in diameter. It dates to the 19th century and comes from Bohemia in Central Europe. It consists of a wine cup with lid for the prophet Elijah and is used during the Seder meal for the festival of Passover. This beautiful example of an Elijah's cup is decorated with illustrations from the life of Elijah. It shows Elijah dressed in Galician costume in reverse foil engraving on gold leaf. Both the inside and outside of the cup and lid have gold leaf illustrations on them. The inside of the lid has an engraving of the Ten Commandments, as well as a very small Magen David, or Star of David. There is also a Hebrew engraving around the rim of both the inside and outside of the glass and around the top of the lid. This glass Elijah's cup has been produced using the verre églomisé technique, where gold leaf is placed between two layers of glass. Verre églomisé is a technique in which glass is engraved with a design through gold or silver leaf. Colored pigment is then applied to key areas so that the colored areas show through the engraving. The painting is then covered with another layer of protective glass or foil. The method owes its name to Jean-Baptiste Glomy, an 18th century French picture framer who used the process in glass mounts. The technique derives from late antiquity and was transmitted by the early Christian tradition. It has been revived at different periods in the history of glass, for example, in Italy during the 14th, 15th, and 16th centuries, in Holland and Spain during the 17th and 18th centuries, and in France, England, and the United States in the 18th century. So, now that we have a bit more information about the cup itself, who was Elijah? Elijah was a prophet who lived during the time of King Ahab and Queen Jezebel. He warned the king and queen that God would punish the lands of Israel and Judah if the worship of idols was not abolished. To prove that his God was the one true God, Elijah challenged the priests of Baal, whom Queen Jezebel worshipped. Both Elijah and the priests of Baal sacrificed a bull in honor of their god. Each then had to pray to their god to ignite their offering for sacrifice. The priests of Baal prayed all morning and all night, but their sacrifice remained unlit. Then Elijah prayed to God for fire, and almost immediately his sacrifice was lit and offered to God. At the end of his life, Elijah did not die, but ascended upwards in a fiery chariot. The prophet Elijah is linked to the Messiah, and it is said that Elijah will return to the earth to bring forth the Messianic age. Elijah often returns to earth to help Jewish people in times of need or to reveal secrets of the Torah. He is present at Brit Milah ceremonies, or circumcision, and visits during the Seder meal. It is custom during the Seder meal at Passover to open your door to welcome Elijah into your home. The Elijah's cup is filled with wine and left on the Seder table for Elijah to drink when he arrives. Usually, by the end of the meal, Elijah's cup is empty, signifying that he has visited and drank the wine from his cup. So why then do we have a cup of wine for Elijah on the Seder table? During the Talmudic years, the rabbis could not agree on whether there should be 4 or 5 cups of wine drunk during the Seder meal. The 4 cups of wine were chosen to mark the expressions of redemption that God promised the Israelites when they were slaves in Egypt. I will take you out from the suffering of Egypt, and I will deliver you from their bondage. I will redeem you with an outstretched arm and with great judgments. I will acquire you to myself as a nation, and I will bring you to the land. The rabbis were unsure of having a cup of wine for the 5th promise, I will bring you to the land, because this promise was unfulfilled at the time of the Exodus and alludes to the future messianic age announced by Elijah. So the rabbis instructed to pour the 5th cup of wine, but not to drink it. We are to wait for Elijah to come and give his verdict on whether there should be 4 cups of wine drunk during the Seder meal or 5 cups. So every year, we put a cup of wine for Elijah on our Seder table in hopes that he will come and enlighten us on this matter. I chose this object because growing up, I would always watch Elijah's cup during the Seder to see if he would come and drink it. I never saw what happened, but by the end of the Seder, Elijah's cup was always mysteriously empty. I hope that this talk has shed some light on that mystery. Thank you so much for listening to this live object talk. Please feel free to share your own Seder stories with us in the comments and on social media, tagging us at Jewish Museum LDN. Join us next week on Wednesday, the 22nd of April at midday for the next live object talk. Happy Pesach.